This is an occupational health hazard.
No.
This doesn't know.
It's going to come in.
Is it better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. For a while. Thank you very much, colleagues, members of the media. You are welcome to this first briefing of the ANC on the sidelines of the National Executive Committee meeting that is currently underway, the first National Executive Committee meeting in the year 2025. We are starting with a media briefing that is going to focus on intervention task team of the ANC, and as well as being a public deployee in the department that deals with trade and industrialization. And the comrades will read a statement. Comrade Sputler will read out a statement, after which we will then take questions. Comrade Sputler? I don't know if you're going to need this.
No, they need to open the laptop. Oh, it's fine. Oh, okay. No, thank you very much, Comrade Mahleng, and good morning to everyone. So, as indicated, I'll be reading the statement of the committee. So, firstly, we want to indicate that the African National Congress reaffirms its unwavering commitment to turning around the state of local government and fast-tracking the delivery of basic services, particularly access to water and sanitation. As the governing party, we do not take for granted the trust of the people, trust that is earned through decisive action, political accountability, and the restoration of functional municipalities that place service delivery at the center of governance. The NEC Local Government Intervention Task Team has intensified its oversight, ensuring that priority municipalities do receive urgent and targeted support. This is not a symbolic exercise. It is a structured and result-driven intervention designed to confront governance failures, deteriorating infrastructure, and service delivery shortcomings with urgency and resolve. We do have an obligation to ensure that the commitments we made in the manifesto do find traction. And on this score, our 2024 election manifesto set a clear directive to fix municipalities' abrupt corruption and restore dignity through reliable services. This is exactly what we are doing. Over the past 2 months, the task team has engaged directly with struggling municipalities in Gauteng, the Free State, and the Eastern Cape. These engagements have been action-oriented, ensuring that political leadership at regional and provincial levels, supported by technical task teams, drives tangible improvements to ensure better services for our people. In Mangaung, water infrastructure is now under daily monitoring, with direct engagements at national level to fast-track immediate interventions. In Ekurhuleni, the ANC-led government is implementing a coordinated plan to stabilize electricity supply, curb vandalism, and complete stalled human settlement projects. In the West Rand, whilst challenges do persist, ongoing efforts have been acknowledged and targeted support is being reinforced. In Tshwane, coalition stability has enabled progress, and the ANC is leading visibility efforts to ensure transparent communication with residents. In Nelson Mandela Bay, where deep structural challenges remain, a provincial-led intervention is being strengthened, focusing on financial recovery and political stability. Across all municipalities, accountability is being tightened and service delivery is being repositioned as the primary measure of governance effectiveness in line with our manifesto. As we close the National Water Month and Human Rights Month, the Department of Water and Sanitation has transformed South Africa into a national construction site. A substantial investment has been made in major infrastructure projects. The recently concluded water and sanitation in Daba sent a clear message. Securing water access is not a debate, it is a national priority. On the 10th of February 2025, the government handed over the Lubisi Treatment Works, a component of the Cluster 4 bulk water supply project in the Chris Hani District Municipality in the Eastern Cape. The project, implemented under the department's Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant, aims to provide sustainable and reliable water services to underserved communities in the Ntsika, Yetu, Sakisizwe, and Emalahleni local municipalities. The water treatment works will service 96 communities with an estimated population of 94,307 within the local municipalities as mentioned. Projects such as the Loskop Regional Bulk Water Project in Mpumalanga, the raising of the Glen William and Hellsmere dams, the Val Gamagara and Olifants Management Model in Limpopo and the Northern Cape, and the Pilansberg Bulk Water will accommodate rapid population growth and prevent sewage spillages. In Kwatimba, in eThekwini, a new water package plant will be handed over on Monday, the 31st of March, demonstrating the ANC's commitment to sustainable service delivery. On the immediate priorities, we intend to focus on the following: fixing the foundations of water governance, ensuring that beyond construction, we have taken firm steps to address systemic weaknesses, including unacceptably high levels of non-revenue water losses, aging and collapsing municipal water infrastructure, illegal water connections, and rampant wastage, poor revenue collection and financial mismanagement, and fighting the water tankering and construction mafia. The ANC fully supports the bold reforms being introduced through the Water Services Amendment Bill, National Treasury's Metropolitan Trading Services reforms, and the Phase 2 of Operation Vulindlela. These reforms are critical in ring-fencing revenue, strengthening accountability, and ensuring professionalized water services management. We applaud the men and women at ESCOM for their diligent work at the institution, resulting in an addition of 800 megawatts to the national grid with the synchronization of Unit 6 at Kusile. We are happy that this addition contributes immensely to our energy security. We also welcome the extension of life of Kubek Unit Number 1 with an additional 930 megawatts, and the return of Medupi 4 contributing 800 megawatts, which is anticipated to be synchronized by end of April this year. Efforts are underway to eliminate load reduction. And on this score, we note the efforts led by the ministry working together with the provincial government of Limpopo and all the municipalities in Limpopo all the municipalities in the Free State and the provincial government in the Free State and all the municipalities in the Northwest and the provincial government of the Northwest, that the phase one of the program to eliminate load reduction has already started. The rest of the provinces will follow. This collectively will contribute to our sustained improvement of the network industries that will bolster economic growth, thus ensuring job creation for the millions of our youth, supporting the growth of SMME capacity and the end of load shedding. The ANC refuses to be passive in the face of crisis. We are preparing for the future. In April 2025, the ANC will convene a local government workshop to sharpen our contributions to the review of the white paper on local government. This workshop will ensure that the ANC lead the charge in reshaping municipal, legislative, and fiscal frameworks, directly informing the development of our 2026 local government election manifesto, grounded in real lessons, not just empty rhetoric. The ANC does not retreat in the face of complexity. We advance with agency and resolve. We do not issue excuses, we implement interventions. We call on all deployees, councillors, and regional structures to intensify oversight, boldly communicate progress, and strengthen the connection between the movement and the people. The ANC must be visible, not just in words, but in action, delivering water, fixing municipalities, and restoring hope. We remain resolute that a capable and developmental local government is non-negotiable. Thank you, Comrade.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Khusienzo. We will at this point take questions from yourselves, colleagues. I'm here for that.
It's very clear.
Members of the media do not have questions for the first time in history. Tando, Business Day.
Just to the Minister of Trade and Industry, just because you're here, could you kindly expand on that government-wide plan to ensure that should South Africa be expelled from AGOA, what it would entail, which departments are involved, and what exactly, which markets is South Africa targeting? And because the electricity minister is also here, could you also expand on the Section 34 Gazette that you issued yesterday on the transmission lines, on the instrument that will be used, and just how much is the electricity ministry targeting in private sector investment for that project?
Thank you, Tando. Sunday Times.
Comrade Zomalisa from the Sunday Times. Dr. Pax, are you able to just update us on how far the process of saving those ArcelorMittal jobs is? Like, where is that process? And we understand that the government is trying to intervene there to get some private partners to take over the operations, especially in Vereeniging. I can't remember what else. Are you able to update us on that? Yeah, I think for now that's it.
Yeah, thank you. Is there a follow-up?
Yeah, just to add to what he was,
Okay.
just to add to what he was asking, just the IDC injection, does that involve increasing equity into ArcelorMittal, or would it just be like the 2024 injection that was given to IDC?
Of course, we do have a briefing that's going to go dive deeper into some of the issues that are raised, but I will request comrades to respond, being mindful of that as well. I saw a hand this side. Eyewitness News.
Good morning. Alpha Mushwana here from Eyewitness News. I'm partially covered, but just because you're here as well, you have been a mayor in Johannesburg. You know the city very well. What do you think the current leadership of president is unhappy. Sure, yourself as an insider, someone who's been in Johannesburg, you know as well what they're not getting right. Just your insights on that, please. Thank you.
Thank you. May I, ENCA?
Jones, ENCA. Mr. Box, just to expand on what my colleague said, the state of the metros. What are you doing to manage the coalitions there? For instance, there is a motion of no confidence coming against the mayor of Ekurhuleni this April. We are being told there's another motion of no confidence coming against Joburg Mayor Dada Morero as well. What are you doing in terms of managing the relationship of coalitions which have the potential to destabilize the state of governance in these municipalities? Number two, maybe to the electricity minister as well. Bouts of load shedding implemented at short notice the previous weeks. Is the national grid stable at the moment? Should we expect any, power outages in the next coming weeks? Just an update on that. Thank you.
Thank you. There was a hand this side? No, we are sorted this side. If there's any follow-up, we will be able to take a second round, but I'll ask comrades to respond to these ones in no particular order.
Thank you. I might not need the facility, but it's here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much and good morning, if it's still morning. Yeah, in fact, we anticipated before we came here that there'll be questions around our respective portfolios. And as indicated by the chair, the intention is that the cluster that deals with those matters would be presenting and elaborate on some of these issues. But I think, firstly, it's important to reaffirm our commitment as a country to ensure that we normalize the relationship with the US in particular. But we're cognizant that the United States has taken a view with regards to trade matters that affects not only South Africa, but many countries around the world, including Canada, Mexico, the EU, China, and so on. So in many ways, we're responding to an environment that is changing in the environment of trade, in particular with the US. And we need to be cognizant of that because as we respond, we have to appreciate that it is a policy decision of the US with regards to their posture on matters related to trade. And this would include, amongst others, their posture on the World Trade Organization and multilateral trading agreements and the way in which they are dealing with it. That notwithstanding, I reaffirm our commitment to continue to engage, one as South Africa, but also as the collective of African countries that participate in AGOA, to lobby for the renewal of AGOA. There will be an AGOA conference that takes place. It's an annual AGOA summit, rather, that takes place in about June, July every year, which will be hosted in the US. And of course, as Africa would be going there to advocate for the renewal of AGOA, and in the context of South Africa, for the continued participation of South Africa. Our approach has always been that we should diversify our trading partners and ensure that we are able to build relationships with a variety of countries and a variety of blocs, if you like. You would appreciate that recently the President hosted the EU at the South Africa-EU summit, at which a set of commitments were made, including an investment package that almost gets to 100 billion rand, but also a set of agreements around cleaner trading and investment package that's currently being ironed out with the EU. We have recently come back from Japan with the Deputy President on investment-related issues and would continue to engage with a variety of countries and blocs with regards to diversifying our trade, cognizant of developments that happen globally, and to also de-risk in certain instances because there are products that necessarily are challenged in particular markets. So let me make an example. When we're talking about citrus in particular, The challenges we have are not just in the US, there are also challenges in the EU. And we've raised those matters with the EU. But our responsibility is to also ensure that we protect our farmers. So we say, okay, we need to diversify some of these products into the East. And we've raised that, and the Chinese have agreed that we can be able to export our citrus into the Chinese market. So it's also about de-risking in certain instances. Sorry. With regards to ArcelorMittal South Africa, or AMSA, I should confirm that government has been engaging with AMSA with the intention to avert the closure of 2 plants in particular, Vereeniging and Newcastle. Those discussions have been ongoing. There's an intention that hopefully in the coming week there would be a signed agreement between the parties. So it would be premature to comment around the details of what that agreement would constitute. Safe to say that it has involved detailed engagements, including both fiscal instruments, but also financial injections in the form of loan agreements and or structured agreements that we enter into with ArcelorMittal. When I'm talking about fiscal instruments, I'm talking, amongst others, to talk about the preferential pricing system with regards to scrap export, metal scrap exports. And we've already issued an instruction to the International Trade Administration Commission to investigate how we can intervene in that regard. And there are other mechanisms that are being explored, including through the Department of Employment and Labour with regards to tariffs. I should say, coming to Joburg and the metros, firstly, I think that there is a general acknowledgement that governance in the metros and in local government, broadly speaking, has required intervention. We should also acknowledge that, in fact, at the initiative, amongst others, of the Mayor of Johannesburg, through writing to the President and saying there are particular challenges that we believe we require national government to assist on. And I think that's an important statement because it's a leadership that says there are particular issues. Some of them are deep-seated financial problems that have emerged over time. So you can't necessarily attribute the current financial challenges in the municipality to the current leadership. These have emerged over a period of time. And we have had to deal with the reality of the deterioration of the financial position of the municipality. And the Metro said, we need assistance, we need government to support us, and there's a particular set of actions that were announced. So I'm saying, as a result of, amongst others, the initiative of the executive mayor and the leadership in the city, government has gone in to support the city of Johannesburg. Government has also announced that Operation Vulindlela is being expanded to focus, amongst others, on local government. Now, that's also an important statement because it's an acknowledgement of the particular challenges that are faced there, and that includes a particular focus in our metropolitan municipalities and large cities so that we're able to address those deep-seated challenges that are there. As indicated by Comrade Khosensu in the concluding part of the statement, part of what we acknowledge is that there are systemic and policy issues that affect local government, and those require a comprehensive review of the design of our local government system. And thus, when we held the previous local government workshop at this venue, we agreed that we should initiate a process of review of the white paper on local government, which would be the policy document that guides our local government system. That process has been initiated. We're reconvening then to say what are the elements of that review that require intervention in terms of policy and other instruments to improve the functioning of local government. Thank you. Or I should say, we have established as the National Executive Committee a coalitions task team, which coalitions task team looks comprehensively at issues that afflict and affect coalitions. So to the extent that those issues emerge, the coalition task team convenes and intervenes directly to mitigate and or resolve any particular issues that emerge in that regard. So it is always an issue that we are conscious of in terms of continuously managing it. Thank you.
Thanks. Maybe to Tando's question, in our quest to ensure that we achieve energy security, we decided that it's important that we introduce new players on the generation side, and that called for the reforms in the electricity ecosystem. And then the President initiated a process or put into motion the review of that principal piece of legislation in the electricity ecosystem, which is the Electricity Regulation Act, which amendments have come into force on the 1st of January this year. So essentially we are beginning to accelerate new generation capacity that is coming from outside ESCOM. Hitherto ESCOM has been a monopoly, so we think that we need to mitigate that risk. So in keeping with that effort, there's a need for us to ensure that we expand and modernize our transmission capacity because there's misalignment of our renewable energy resources and transmission capacity. I mean, if you look at in the Cape provinces where we've got a significant amount of efficient renewable energy assets, principally wind and the sun, we have exhausted all of that transmission capacity. So we have decided that there's a need for us to look beyond the fiscus to be able to support that expansion. Our own computation suggests that we'll need something in the order of magnitude of 440 billion rands for us to finance the expansion of 14,000 kilometers of new transmission lines. So what the ERA has done, as signed by the amendment, as signed by the President, then it makes it possible, it creates a dispensation for the Minister of Electricity and Energy to do a determination on the corridors of new transmission lines. So yesterday we issued that determination is going to be about 5 corridors, but that won't be financed through the fiscus. As you all know, that the fiscal space, the fiscal matrix has deteriorated. ESCOM or the NTCSA doesn't have the sufficient balance sheet to support that 440 billion rands of transmission expansion. So we are going out to the debt capital markets to raise that money. But we are also going to cushion the fiscus because we will not rely on sovereign guarantees. Working with the World Bank, the IFC, and National Treasury, we have designed a bespoke instrument called the Credit Guarantee Vehicle that is going to be a backstop in relation to those investments. So yes, I think this is the most transformative piece of work. And then on the back of that, next week I'll be issuing the regulations, which regulations will then guide in much more detail how we are going to procure that. Of course, on Tuesday we're occasioning a press briefing where we'll be outlining what are those corridors. But we intend to build, as the first phase, about 1,067 kilometers of new transmission line. Like I said, we have identified the corridors so that we are able to evacuate the stranded electrons. So this is areas where there's a known capacity that exists, renewable energy electrons, but those can be evacuated because of transmission limitations. And then Tupule, yes, I mean, it's regrettable that we experienced those 3 bouts of load shedding. I did make the point that there will be setbacks in our road, our quest to resolve load shedding. And I did say to the country that when load shedding is ended, I'll be the first ones to inform the country. But we have made significant strides. So the statement notes that the new generation capacity from Kusile, we have synchronized 800 megawatts, I think, last week, Saturday. We are expecting to synchronize another 800 megawatts coming from Medupi. Remember that Medupi unit number 4 was destroyed in some fire about 4 years ago. So we have found ways of retaining it quicker. I mean, in the context of this generating unit, the 4 years is relatively quick. So we are bringing it back. we'll have that generation capacity by end of April. So in total is 1,600 megawatts. As you all know, that Kubek unit number 1 has been out, has received a license. We are refueling it in terms of the compliance as per the requirements of the regulator. We expect to get it back, that 930 megawatts, I think around July. So in total, you'll have about 2,500 megawatts. So we're on a good path. I guess your question is, in the immediate future, do you anticipate load shedding? So when we enter April now, we're bringing down that planned maintenance. So it will move from about 7,900 megawatts, come down to about 3,000 megawatts. So what that means is that you'll have an additional generating capacity of 4,000 megawatts. And the key is to stabilize these generating units. I think the bouts of load shedding, like I've shared with the country, was as a result of human error. It's something that we are resolving internally. It really doesn't speak to the fundamentals of the performance of the units. And that's where I draw my comfort. Of course, we must resolve the issues of supervision, how you return units back. It's an internal issue. It's regrettable that has had impact on the availability of electricity. But I'm confident that I think it looks brighter. I am confident that we could be on another great run. And in this round of a great run of consecutive days of no load shedding, I'm confident that I'll come back to the country that load shedding is behind us. Those units will come, and then we'll announce appropriately. But as I speak to you now, I think the outlook for the week and going into winter looks positive. ESCOM will have a press conference to outline the winter outlook. But where we're at, I'm confident that we're moving in the right direction. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I assume that we've come to the end of this briefing. Any other questions that have to do with the budget and a whole host of issues of that nature will be engaged with at another briefing. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.